Have you ever stopped to wonder, why do so many seniors pass away before reaching the age of 85? Some might say it's just bad genes. Others might blame fate or luck. But the truth is far more surprising. Most of the time it isn't one big dramatic event that cuts life short. It's the small, almost invisible mistakes that creep into daily life. Little habits, silent routines, subtle choices that quietly chip away at strength, health, and resilience. These are not the dramatic health scares we hear about in the headlines. Instead, they're the unnoticed traps of everyday living. The things nobody warns you about until it's too late. In today's video, we're pulling back the curtain. I'm going to reveal 6 hidden mistakes that often shorten lives far earlier than necessary, and more importantly, I'll show you how to avoid them. And make sure you stay with me until the very end because the 6th mistake is one almost nobody talks about. Yet it has a massive, almost shocking impact on your long-term health and happiness. Now, before we dive into mistake number 1, let's pause for a moment and ask, why does this conversation matter so much? According to the CDC and other health organizations, the top causes of death for older adults are chronic diseases: heart disease, cancer, stroke, Alzheimer's, diabetes, chronic lung conditions. But here's the real question. Why do so many people develop these conditions earlier than they should? Is it really just genetics? Or is something else going on? When researchers study longevity, why some people make it to 85, 90, or even 100, they often find the difference isn't huge, dramatic medical breakthroughs. It's usually something much simpler. A lifetime of small habits, choices repeated day after day, invisible mistakes that accumulate like drops of water slowly wearing away stone. Think of it this way: your body is like a house. It doesn't collapse overnight. But if you ignore the tiny cracks in the foundation, if you let leaks drip, if you neglect the roof year after year, eventually the damage adds up and the house fails. The same is true with your health. Maybe it's skipping regular movement because you don't feel up to it today. Maybe it's relying on convenience foods instead of cooking something nourishing. Maybe it's brushing off the loneliness you feel, telling yourself it's normal, when in reality it's draining your spirit day by day. These are not loud problems. They are quiet, silent, easy to ignore. But over years they create the conditions for disease, frailty, and decline. The good news? The same process works in reverse. Small positive changes made consistently can stop or even reverse much of this damage. In fact, many studies show that seniors who adopt even modest lifestyle improvements, like walking daily, eating more whole foods, staying socially engaged, often gain 5, 10, or even 15 extra years of healthy life. So this isn't about luck. This isn't about destiny. It's about spotting the mistakes early and choosing a different path. And that's why this matters. Because every day you make choices, and those choices are either moving you closer to vitality or closer to decline. Now that you know the stakes, let's dive into the first hidden mistake that quietly steals years from so many seniors. One of the most common and most silent mistakes that steals years of life is neglecting movement. It doesn't happen overnight. Sneaks in slowly. At first you tell yourself, I'm just resting today. Then it's tomorrow. Then next week. And before long, movement is no longer a part of your daily life. This is especially common after retirement. For decades you had structure, work, chores, schedules that forced you to get up, move, and stay active. But when those routines fall away, the hours in the chair grow longer, and the minutes on your feet grow shorter. Here's the hidden truth. Your muscles, bones, joints, and circulatory system require regular stimulus to stay alive and strong. When you stop moving, it isn't just comfort you're choosing. It's decline. Muscles shrink. Bones weaken. Balance erodes. Energy fades. And with it comes a rising risk of falls, fractures, diabetes, heart disease, and a gradual slide into frailty. Doctors sometimes say, sitting is the new smoking. Why? Because inactivity silently shortens life just as surely as cigarettes once did. When you spend most of your day sitting, blood flow slows, insulin resistance builds, and your body loses the spark it needs to heal and repair itself. It's not just physical either. Sedentary living also weighs on your mood and mental health. Studies show that lack of movement increases the risk of depression and even accelerates memory loss. And here's the most dangerous part. You don't notice the decline at first. It's subtle. A little stiffness here, a little less energy there. You think it's just aging. But in reality it's disuse. It's neglect. And it's preventable. Take Margaret, for example. She's 82 years old. Gardening used to be her joy. She loved tending to roses and tomatoes in her backyard. But after a minor knee injury, she told herself she'd take a short break. That break turned into weeks. Weeks became months. And before long, she hadn't touched her garden in over a year. The less she moved, the weaker she became. Climbing stairs felt like scaling a mountain. Getting out of her chair left her breathless. She began avoiding outings, too embarrassed to walk with friends. But Margaret's story didn't end there. Her daughter convinced her to join a local walking group. At first it was just 5 minutes at a time leaning on a cane. Then 10. Then 20. Slowly her muscles remembered. Her balance improved. She felt stronger. And the garden? Margaret returned to it, this time not just for the plants but for herself. Each small movement brought back confidence, independence, and a renewed sense of life. Margaret's story isn't unique. Research confirms that even small, consistent movement can transform aging. A Harvard study found that seniors who walk just 30 minutes a day reduce their risk of dying early by nearly 40%. Light strength exercises like lifting grocery bags or using resistance bands preserve bone density and reduce the risk of osteoporosis. Balance training such as Tai Chi or gentle yoga cuts the risk of falls, which are a leading cause of injury-related deaths in older adults. And here's the encouraging part. Intensity doesn't matter as much as consistency. You don't need marathons. You don't need heavy weights. What you need is steady daily commitment. So how do you avoid this hidden trap? Start small. Even 5 to 10 minutes of walking daily can grow into a powerful habit. Make it joyful. Dance to your favorite song, garden, or play with your grandchildren. Movement should feel like living, not a chore. Mix it up. Walking for endurance, stretching for flexibility, light weights for strength, and balance exercises for stability. Stay consistent. It's the everyday choices, the short walk after dinner, the decision to stand and stretch, that protect your independence for decades. Remember, every step you take is a signal to your body that you are still alive, capable, and invested in your own future. Neglecting movement is one of the fastest ways to age before your time. But when you move consistently, you don't just add years to your life. You add life to your years. Now, movement is critical, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. The second hidden mistake is just as dangerous, and it happens quietly at the dinner table. Let's talk about nutrition. Mistake number 2 is more stealthy, more silent, and yet just as dangerous as lack of movement. His daughter noticed his clothes hanging looser, and his energy fading. When James finally spoke to his doctor, the advice was simple. Add small nutrient-dense snacks, like yogurt with fruit, a handful of nuts, a boiled egg, or a protein shake. It wasn't about eating more. It was about eating better. Within weeks, his strength began returning. He could carry groceries again. He felt more alert. And most importantly, he regained the confidence to live independently. James's story highlights something science has proven again and again. Quality nutrition is the foundation of healthy aging. Studies show that seniors who consume enough protein preserve more muscle mass and reduce their risk of falls and fractures. Diets rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains reduce inflammation and protect against heart disease and stroke. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish, nuts, and olive oil support brain health and memory. And proper hydration prevents confusion, kidney problems, and dizziness that can lead to falls. Even subtle improvements, an extra serving of vegetables, replacing soda with water, adding a protein snack, compound into enormous benefits over the years. So how do you avoid this mistake? Listen to your appetite shifts. If you find yourself skipping meals, ask why. Is it dental pain? Lack of motivation? Loneliness? These are signs, not just habits. Focus on nutrient density, not volume. You don't have to eat more food, you just have to eat better food. Choose lean proteins, colorful vegetables, whole grains, healthy fats, and plenty of water. Make it easy. Keep healthy snacks within reach: nuts, fruit, yogurt, boiled eggs. Consider meal delivery services or preparing simple one-pot meals. Make it social. Eating with others boosts appetite and makes meals more enjoyable. Join community lunches, invite a friend, or share a meal with family. Consult your doctor. If you're losing weight unintentionally, get checked for underlying issues and ask about supplements if needed. Remember, food is not just about survival, it's about strength, healing, and joy. Every bite you take is an investment in your independence and vitality. Neglecting nutrition is one of the most silent killers of longevity, but with small, intentional changes, you can restore strength, protect your mind, and rebuild resilience at any age. Now we've looked at movement and nutrition, but there's another factor just as critical, and it happens every night, often without you realizing it. Mistake number 3, neglecting sleep and recovery. One of the most overlooked yet powerful pillars of longevity is sleep and rest. We live in a culture that celebrates productivity and pushing through. But as we age, this mentality can backfire. Many seniors unknowingly rob themselves of years of life by neglecting the profound role of recovery. You see, sleep is not wasted time, it is repair time. While you sleep, your brain clears out toxins through the glymphatic system. Your body produces growth hormone for tissue repair. Your immune system recharges, and your memories consolidate. Without adequate sleep, this essential maintenance gets skipped, day after day, year after year. The result? Higher risks of heart disease, stroke, dementia, diabetes, weakened immunity, and even falls. Yet here's the problem. As we get older, sleep patterns naturally shift. Seniors often experience lighter sleep, more frequent awakenings, and earlier waking times. Some assume it's just normal aging and stop paying attention. But ignoring these changes is a mistake, because poor quality sleep is not a natural part of aging, it's a warning sign. When you don't sleep deeply, your cortisol levels stay high. This raises blood pressure, weakens your bones, increases belly fat, and inflames blood vessels. Meanwhile, lack of REM sleep deprives your brain of the nightly reset it needs, fueling memory problems and mood disorders. It becomes a vicious cycle. Poor sleep, fatigue during the day, less physical activity, weaker sleep drive at night, even worse sleep. Over time, this cycle accelerates decline. Rest is more than sleep. But it's not only nighttime sleep that matters. Seniors also need intentional rest and recovery built into their daily routines. After decades of working, many retirees feel they finally have time to catch up on projects or activities, and they overdo it. Your body, especially after 60, does not recover as quickly from exertion. Muscles need longer repair, joints need more care, and the nervous system needs downtime. Ignoring this leads to exhaustion, injuries, and burnout. Think of rest as an investment. Just as you wouldn't drive a car nonstop without oil changes, you can't run your body on empty and expect longevity. Practical shifts that make a big difference. Stick to a routine. Go to bed and wake up at the same times, even on weekends. This anchors your circadian rhythm. Protect your sleep environment. Keep your bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Blackout curtains, earplugs, or a white noise machine can work wonders. Limit stimulants. Cut caffeine after midday. Reduce alcohol and heavy meals close to bedtime, as they disrupt deep sleep. Create a wind-down ritual. Gentle stretching, soft music, reading scripture or a calming book, prayer, or light meditation tells the body it's safe to rest. Honor recovery. If you walk or exercise, schedule lighter days in between. Think of active recovery like stretching, yoga, or even just a peaceful stroll in nature. Story example. Take Helen, 79. For years, she prided herself on being tough and surviving on just 5 hours of sleep. She often felt tired but told herself, "That's just old age." Over time, she began forgetting small things, losing her balance, and feeling constantly drained. Her doctor finally connected the dots. Her insomnia and restless nights were fueling cognitive decline and blood pressure spikes. With some small changes, cutting afternoon coffee, setting a bedtime routine, and adding short afternoon rests, her energy returned. Within months, her memory stabilized, and she felt years younger. Neglecting sleep and recovery is like running a marathon every day without water stops. You may keep going for a while, but eventually, the body breaks down. If you want to make it to 85 and beyond, guard your sleep like a treasure. Because truly, it is one of the most powerful medicines you already own. When we talk about aging, most people focus on the physical, bones, muscles, memory, blood pressure. But one of the most underestimated forces that determines whether someone thrives or declines in later years is emotional health. It's not just about avoiding depression or sadness. It's about having meaningful connection, belonging, and purpose. And yet, millions of older adults fall into the trap of ignoring this dimension of life. They may dismiss feelings of loneliness as normal, or believe that a lack of purpose is just part of retirement. But research shows these emotional gaps can shorten life just as much as smoking or obesity. Loneliness is not just an emotion, it's a biological stressor. When you feel chronically disconnected, your body produces more cortisol, your blood pressure rises, inflammation increases, and your immune system weakens. In fact, studies from the National Institute on Aging show that prolonged loneliness increases the risk of heart disease, stroke, dementia, and even early death. Some researchers now call loneliness the new smoking, equivalent to 15 cigarettes a day. That it's also a spiral. Isolation, sadness, withdrawal, less activity, worsening health, even more isolation. Without intervention, it quietly chips away at both body and spirit. The crisis of purpose after retirement. Another subtle mistake is ignoring purpose. Many people work for 40 or 50 years, their identity tied to their career, daily routine, and responsibilities. Then retirement comes, and suddenly the structure disappears. The loss of role, social circle, and sense of contribution can feel like falling off a cliff. Without something to look forward to, motivation fades and health often follows. But purpose doesn't have to mean a full-time job. It can be small. Helping a neighbor, volunteering, mentoring, creating art, gardening, learning a new skill. Purpose is simply knowing that you matter, that tomorrow needs you. Story example. Take Robert, age 74. After retiring from his job as an engineer, he found his days empty. His wife had passed away, his children were busy, and the silence in his house grew heavy. He ate less, slept poorly, and stopped exercising. Within 2 years, he looked and felt decades older. Then, almost by accident, he joined a local woodworking group at the community center. There, he met people who shared his passion, started teaching younger members, and even built furniture for a local charity. What happened next was remarkable. His appetite returned, his posture straightened, and his doctor noticed improvements in his blood pressure and mood. Robert didn't just live longer, he began to live better. The science of emotional resilience. Social connection builds resilience. Strong relationships buffer stress, reduce the risk of depression, and even protect brain function. Purpose rewires the brain. Having meaningful goals stimulates dopamine and serotonin, chemicals that enhance motivation and joy. Emotional support strengthens immunity. Studies show that people who feel supported have lower inflammation and stronger immune responses. Practical shifts for seniors. Prioritize connection. Even if family is far away, join groups, faith communities, or volunteer circles. Regular conversations, even short ones, act like medicine. Build new skills. Learn a language, play an instrument, try painting. Anything that keeps the brain engaged and gives a sense of progress. Share your wisdom. Teaching, mentoring, storytelling. Your life experiences are valuable to others, and sharing them gives deep fulfillment. Ask for help when needed. Depression and anxiety in older age are common but treatable. Seeking help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Emotional health is not a luxury, it's a survival factor. Your body cannot fully heal, thrive, or endure without the anchor of connection, purpose, and hope. So if you want to reach 85 and beyond, not just breathing but living, don't neglect your inner life. Longevity is not only about years in the body, but joy in the heart. One of the most dangerous mistakes seniors make is avoiding the doctor until something becomes urgent. It's easy to understand why. Nobody enjoys medical visits. Some fear bad news, others think, I'm fine, it's just aging, or worry about cost and inconvenience. But this hesitation comes with a price. Small problems, when ignored, often grow silently until they become life-threatening. Why early detection matters. Think of the body like a car. If you ignore a tiny oil leak, eventually the engine fails. Health works the same way. High blood pressure often has no symptoms until it damages the heart, kidneys, or brain. Type 2 diabetes can go unnoticed for years, quietly harming nerves, blood vessels, and eyesight. High cholesterol rarely feels like anything until a stroke or heart attack strikes. Memory lapses may seem like just aging, but sometimes they are early signs of dementia, vitamin deficiency, or medication side effects. Issues that can be managed if caught early. Regular checkups act like a radar system, detecting threats before they land. The silent killers. Hypertension. High blood pressure called the silent killer because it often shows no warning signs. Left unchecked, it damages arteries, leading to strokes and heart disease. Kidney disease. In its early stages, there are almost no symptoms. A simple blood test for creatinine or a urine test for protein can catch it years before dialysis becomes necessary. Osteoporosis. Bone loss is painless until the first fracture. A bone density scan can predict risk before a hip or spine fracture changes life forever. Cancers. Colonoscopies, mammograms, prostate screenings. These save lives because they find disease before it spreads. Real-life story. Take Elaine, age 79. She noticed occasional shortness of breath while climbing stairs but dismissed it as just getting older. For over a year she ignored it. When she finally went to her doctor, tests revealed congestive heart failure that could have been slowed much earlier. Contrast that with Michael, 72. He reluctantly agreed to a routine checkup, even though he felt fine. Blood work revealed early-stage kidney disease. With simple changes, medication, diet adjustments, and follow-up monitoring, his kidneys stabilized, preventing dialysis and extending his independence. The difference between Elaine and Michael? Timing. Why seniors delay care. Fear of bad news. If I don't know, maybe it's not real. Belief that symptoms are just aging. Financial concerns or access to healthcare. Past negative experiences with doctors. Reluctance to feel like a burden to family. But the truth is, seeking care doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. Practical steps for seniors. Schedule annual checkups. Even if you feel fine, ask for basic screenings. Blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes markers, kidney and liver function, bone density, and cognitive health. Track trends. Don't just ask if your numbers are normal. Ask how they've changed over time.